Hello, this is another exciting episode of Reality Check Radio. I'm sorry for that little blur. Um, and in this episode, I want to talk about all the strangeness that is going on in the world right now. I can't be the only one to notice. And this is not an episode that targets any specific subject matter other than just in general, the strangeness and reality that we're experiencing right now. Time going by a little faster. I mean, for me, time seems like it's suddenly flying by. I mean, I get up early in the morning, I go do a few things, I come back to check on my aging father that I help take care of, that I do take care of, and it seems like the day is just gone, like gone, and then the week's gone, and it seems like time is passing faster than ever before. And you can ride this off to getting older, a lot of different things, but I've never quite experienced it like this before. So that's just one of the several things. There's other things. There's the strangeness going on around the world with the two suns that a lot of people are seeing in the sky, the secondary sun being Nibiru, which is causing a change in tidal in the Earth's ocean's currents as of a few weeks ago. And it could lead to some catastrophic weather, just to mention the beginnings, not to include what would happen if the poles, when, not if, but when the poles actually shift. But that's like another topic. That's not what we're getting into. I don't want to dive into one thing too completely here. Just to say that that's the strangeness, that we're seeing. We're seeing what appears to be two suns in the sky on several recorded videos on YouTube. It's not. One of those that appears to be a sun is the planet Nibiru in our solar system. Another thing that is strange, and I believe it's mentioned in Revelations that dates and times will be messed with. And that's what we're seeing now. And I don't know if it's by CERN, possibly, because everything starts at the quantum level. And when you start messing, I would say effing with, but I don't. When you start messing with things at the quantum level, you're messing with the foundation of reality itself. And you're going to start messing things up in reality, in the timeline, in things that we experience. And that's what seems to be indicated in things like the Mandela effect. And a lot of people that do their 9 to 5 jobs and enjoy their Sunday football and don't want to pull their heads out of their asses because they don't want anything to interrupt the paradigm that they would like to enjoy, dismiss this stuff. Like you could give them you could say, yeah, the Mandela effect is just a strange effect because of some person smoking dope over in Australia. And they'd be like, yep, that's it. That's it. Back to Sunday night football. They don't need anything for an excuse. They'll take anything you throw at them, and they'll believe it just to write it off. They are not interested in facts. They're not interested in the truth. And I try not to despise these people, but seriously, I can't stand them because they're the people that are not willing to address issues. They would rather have their heads up their butts and enjoy their 9 to 5 jobs and their families until it all comes crashing down around them, and then be surprised like, wow, what the hell happened here? As if they weren't warned and warned and warned. that this was coming, you know. But CERN's been experimenting on the quantum level, and the quantum level is the foundation of reality itself. And when you start messing with those things, you're gonna inadvertently create shifts in timelines. And that's what we all see right now, whether you want to admit it or not, to some degree or another, depending on when you were born. I was born in 1971, December 11, 1971. Oh man, the scammers are going to be on me now. I shouldn't have said that. Anyway, um, and I remember, clearly certain things. I remember clearly that in Snow White, the evil princess said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" But now, in our current timeline, because it's been changed, she doesn't say that anymore. You can buy a cassette tape from the 80s. I mean, you can go back as far as you want to the earliest recordings, and she says, "Magic mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" And nobody that I know of from my age group remembers Magic Mirror. From my age group or even earlier than me, they always remember Mirror, mirror on the wall. These are like serious changes in our timeline. These are changes in general that a lot of people know about, but if you pay attention, you'll have your own changes personally that you can and will experience. There's a guy with a decent following on YouTube. His YouTube channel is called I believe it's ECK Acres. I know you want to, it's not like acres as in land. It's like acres as in ECKERS, I think. Don't take my word on it. But he was and his wife visited a local restaurant for the last, I believe it was 30 years that they lived in their area. And as of, I think it was around a month ago, he went to visit that restaurant, and instead of being owned by a white family, it was owned by a completely black family, which there's nothing racist. This is not anything racist here. Okay. So I don't want anybody to read anything like that into this. It was just a different family owned the restaurant, and they happened to be black instead of white. Okay. So if you're offended by me saying black, then be offended by me saying white too. I mean, because that's bullshit. You guys are just eggshells. I'm not going to step on eggshells for your sake. But anyway, so they were owned by blacks, and the one of the cooks came out of the back of the restaurant and asked him and his wife if they enjoyed the meal, and she was happy to see them again. And it blew his mind because he had never seen her before in his life. And it blew his mind because he asked, "Did you guys recently buy this restaurant?" And she said, "No, my family and I have owned this restaurant for the past 20 years." And he didn't say anything more to her, but his wife and him were completely beside themselves because they knew that the restaurant was owned by white people for the last 30 years. Things like this, just things like this. Personally, me, I have a lot of different sources, different small sources. I'm not rich by any means, but I have a lot of different small sources of alternate income. And ever since I moved back from Colorado to Crescent City, California. to help take care of my dad because he had a stroke and he's completely paralyzed on one side. My mom passed and he had nobody, really to take care of him. So I left everything in Colorado and moved back here, and and I take care of him. Long story short, I take care of him part time. I do deliveries part time to make up for supplemental income, and I have some alternate income that I've arranged through investments and stuff. But the point is that I do deliveries through Walmart. I don't know, 2 or 3 days a week. It's really good money, and and I remember going into our local Walmart, and from the way the light was projected, I couldn't see a 6 foot puddle that was of water that was on the floor. Inadvertently, I slipped in that water carrying a bunch of groceries and hurt my back. Now you could see that water from the other direction. If you got on the other side of the puddle and looked the way the lighting was, you could see it clearly. But if you got on the side of the puddle from which I was walking, you couldn't see it at all. And I remember slipping. The puddle water was on white tile floor that was perfectly placed together in a Walmart, which is familiar, I think, with a lot of people that knew that white speckled tile floor in Walmarts. And I haven't missed many days. Like I said, I work there about 3 days a week. And I went in there the other day, like 2 weeks ago, and the whole floor is smooth black pavement, worn. Like I used to do flooring when I was a teenager. I did flooring in Los Angeles for a company, and I know how flooring works. And if you're gonna bring up all that white tile, you're gonna have to chip it all out of there, and then you're gonna have to grind the remains. You're gonna have to take what looks like a floor buffer, but it's actually a grinder, and grind out the little particles that are left over, which is gonna leave deep grind marks in the black pavement. Okay. And then you're going to have to put in your new flooring. But if you don't put in new flooring, you're going to have deep grind marks and black pavement. And I went into Walmart just 2 weeks ago and there was black pavement. All the aisles were in place. No deep grind marks. In fact, it was worn smooth, like it had been walked on for years. My personal Mandela effect. I'm telling you the truth. And I was blown away. I was like, okay, I work here, I work at this place a lot doing deliveries. I didn't ever see a time when all the aisles were being moved around and the floors were being taken up. That would have taken a few days at least. Over a weekend, even at nighttime, if they decided to do it, it would have taken a few days. I would have noticed something. Nothing. I'm in there, it's smooth white tile. I'm in there and smooth black pavement, like black pavement smoothed out by millions of steps from people, not no grind marks at all. So that's my personal Mandela effect. And there's other, strangeness like deep depression and that people are feeling around the world. They're not feeling the happiness and the joy that they used to feel. They're feeling kind of depressed, kind of in a brain fog, kind of like they're not all there, and the joy in their lives has been taken away. And and I kind of get that because that's kind of how I feel too. And I'm a Christian, and my joy comes from Jesus Christ, and I'm not going to let these worldly things I take, let me take that back. I'm going to try not to let, through Jesus Christ and in his name, these worldly things get me down because they do get me down sometimes. I'm doing my best to resist. But there are other strange things going on. One of the things, especially from my timeline, I'm a big fan of James Bond. And in the movie, I believe it was Moonraker, um, there was a villain named Jaws. And he was a giant that had all chrome teeth, and he could bite through like just about anything with these all chrome teeth, almost like it was his superhero powers. And in the end of the movie, something had fallen, and he needed just a little bit extra help that this pretty young lady provided for him and to get this thing out of the way. And when she helped him out and they removed this thing, they got it out of the way. He smiled at her with his big chrome teeth. And what made the scene was she smiled back with a mouthful of big chrome braces. That's what made the scene. Now, that's not what the scene is anymore. You can go back to Moonraker, Jaws being the villain, James Bond Moonraker. You can go back as early as you want to and look at all the copies. And what happens is he smiles at her with his big chrome teeth. And now she smiles back with normal teeth, which doesn't mean anything. That the whole scene was funny. And what made the whole scene was the fact that she had these big chrome braces. Her smiling back at him with a normal mouth full of teeth doesn't mean it brings everything. It doesn't mean anything. The whole scene is obsolete and pointless. So I want to show you guys that scene here on a screen share, hopefully. On a screen share that a guy did who was trying to pull up this scene and he failed to do so.
Version of Moonraker I can get my hands on, and here it is. Okay, the oldest of the oldest, the CBS Fox VHS. All right, didn't cost me that much, about $3.41. So what I'm going to do right now is I am going to try to forward this to the end and watch this part and film that exact scene. So join me. Here we go. This scene. Yeah.
See, he did his best right there. Excuse me, sorry, excuse me.
No, but it's the first thing.
He did his best right there to try and find some older episode that showed the original scene where she had the chrome teeth that we all remember, and he failed to do so, and he got frustrated, very frustrated. So anyway, hang on one second. I'm dealing with a little bit of computer issues. Anyway, I was able to somehow find a scene. I don't even really know where it's from. And it actually shows the chrome teeth. And I want to share that with you guys. So give me a second here. Give me a second. Hold on. Okay, hold on, hold on. I'm gonna try to play it all for you. Here we go. See his chrome teeth? Look at those chrome braces. Did you see that? Chrome braces. It was right there. Let's go back. See that? Can you see the stud, 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 stud from the braces? I know it's not so clear, but those are big chrome braces across her teeth. Can you see that? So the memory was real. The chrome braces were really there, but you'll have a hell of a time finding this on any old recording of any James Bond nowadays. And my question to you is, where did it go? If the timeline hasn't been changed, what the hell happened? Okay, where did all that go? There is no logical explanation for it other than there has to be some truth to the fact that our reality has been tampered with, possibly through CERN's experiments. I mean, maybe through Nibiru going through our solar system and having some kind of effect on our timeline. I don't know. I would love to hear your opinions in the comments. But for now, that's all I have to share is that there's some strange things going on in the world right now. I don't have all the answers. I would love your opinions, and I just wanted to share this with you guys. So until the next episode of Reality Check Radio, be safe and God bless.